I'm Mike.
Michael Stewart.
Rebecca Kwong.
Rebecca Stukes.
Matthew Rutino.
Matthew Sheen.
Richard Arrington.
Sarah Rishi.
Hal J. Friesen. Josh Johnson.
Dan Musgrave.
I'm Pablo. I'm from Spain, in case my accent doesn't suggest it.
So before I came to Odyssey, I had given my stories to friends and family, and I always got very positive responses. Oh yeah, that's great, that's wonderful. And a few, like my wife often says, oh, you made me cry at this part, but nothing was getting sold, and I knew that they weren't good enough to be published. I didn't know why, and I didn't know how to fix them. Coming to Odyssey has really shown me where they were lacking and where my writing is weak. And I feel like I have a much better sense now of how to change my writing process so that the stories are better from the ground up, and also to then go back and fix them after I have a first draft to make them a cleaner story.
In 6 weeks, you really cramp up like the experiences of several lifetimes, and it truly helps you get closer to being the best writer you can ever be.
I think it's one of the few things which actually is a life-changing experience.
Brutal. If you have any sort of sense of self-worth in your writing, it will be stripped down to the bone, which it needs to be, because you probably are not the best writer you could be.
We've all bonded, I think, very much so. Maybe the camaraderie of pain, I think, really helps to bring people together.
Other workshops that I've attended never get beyond what I can learn from craft books. And for the first time, I actually feel like I know what I don't know, and that I can leave the Odyssey with my apprenticeship completed and ready to move forward as an author.
What can a person say about Gene Cavellos that hasn't already been said in the annals of history?
Encyclopedic knowledge. I've never seen anybody who cares as much about their students and works as hard as she does to try to create a valuable experience.
She is very in-depth. It's like having a super editor look at all your stuff, and, well, almost like a supervillain as well, because she's able to pinpoint all your weaknesses. I guess sort of like Batman. She knows all the writer's weaknesses, and she could destroy all of us if she wanted to.
A lot of the material you might have learned about in English classes or elsewhere as you try and develop your craft, but Jean's insight from her experience, it goes to another level.
I've just never experienced a teacher like Jean. She just doesn't exist anywhere else.
Odyssey, for me, was like the first time I ever got to hang out with like other writers of the genre. So it's been like a 6-week-long geek fest of other people that are passionate about the same stuff that you are, and people that just like want to help you improve and you want to help them improve. So I feel like I've made lifelong friends here, and definitely people that I will beta read for and who have offered to beta read for me. So yeah, bonding with other people was one of my favorite parts of Odyssey.
The critiques in the beginning, it was definitely a nerve-wracking process. Obviously you get a little scared, and I thought I'd be used to the idea of getting critiqued by my peers after the law school experience, but this was a whole other level. But the beauty of it is that you kind of trust in your classmates, and you start to get a feel for exactly everyone's styles and what they look for in stories. And it definitely does feel like a sacred process. So by the end of each critique session, you feel a little bit closer, I think, to everyone, and that's nice.
Being critiqued, it is a very humbling experience to have 15 people all tell you what's wrong with your project. But it's also a very motivating one as well, to finally know what's wrong and how to fix it.
Receiving critiques here has taught me more about what I expect from my own stories and where to take other people's feedback and work with it, and when to say, thanks, but I have a vision for my story already. And that has been unbelievably useful. The other students at Odyssey are maybe the second best resource after Jean, and no resources exist above Jean.
The lectures are a lot of fun. She peppers them with a lot of humor, a lot of jokes. They are full of really in-depth, detailed instruction, and they make me look at the writing that I have been reading my whole life, and I've just been looking at a picture on a screen, and now I'm looking at the pixels, or I was looking at a jigsaw puzzle, and now I'm seeing the individual pieces, and I understand how stories fit together in a way I never did before.
The guest lecturers provide us with some deep insights on what the life of the author is really about.
I can't speak highly enough about the lectures.
The other students are certainly one of the best things of Odyssey.
I ended up having a completely different outlook on my own work and the work of others by like even the time the first week was over. And it's for 6 weeks, so you definitely have a lot of time for you to absorb just the whole mountain of information.
So I think going home from Odyssey, I have a better grasp of what I need to do as a writer to continue to improve.
The number of aha moments I've had at the Odyssey workshop are innumerable.
I feel like that scene in Saving Private Ryan where all the bullets have gone through, you see bodies in the water, but you've made it onto the beach. You're going for that last stretch, and you think you're gonna make it, but you're not really thinking, oh God, what am I gonna do once I'm past those Nazis? But I mean, now that I'm almost past the Nazis, it's given me a lot to reflect upon, and I think I'm going to be growing quite a bit as a writer as I leave.
You should go to Odyssey, because if you don't, you will regret it. Seriously, you'll regret it.
I'm so glad I came to Odyssey. It's been a wonderful experience. I've met so many incredible people. I've learned so many awesome things.
I feel like not only have I grown exponentially as a writer, but I've also gained a whole group of friends that I definitely plan on keeping in touch with.
To put it in a metaphor, which is very clear, I think everyone begins Odyssey by being like a wizard or a witch, capable of casting a few spells. We're really good at doing some magic on our own, but after leaving Odyssey, you feel that you're really like a proper wizard or witch that has come out of Hogwarts and really knows the complete skill set and can craft really complex, elaborate spells.
You should go to Odyssey because you like to write, and there are other people out there who like to write like you. And you should meet those people, and you should come together and form a beautiful hive mind and put stories out into the world.
I look back at my older pieces and I see things that I can change. I see kernels of stories that I can now make into new wonderful things. I look at the ideas I have for stories that I have not yet written, and I already know better ways to do them than what I was planning. I think about the novel that I have outlined and the first act half written, and I already see several major flaws that if I hadn't come to Odyssey, I would have continued writing that novel as it was, and it would have been a flawed creature from the start. At least now that I've been to Odyssey, it will be less flawed thanks to Jean Cavellos. The flaws it still has will be my own.